Are we in Galway or Clare?
Go handy now.
Which one are we? I don't want to get myself into trouble here. We're like on the border, are we not?
We are in Clare. You're just a mile from the border or so, yeah. But definitely Clare.
Right guys, we're in County Clare and nearly in Galway, but we're in County Clare and we have gone down to the Conor factory, and Barry is going to talk to us a little bit about what goes on here and bits and bobs. What I do know, Barry, thanks for inviting us down to get a wee chat and a look around, but I associate you guys firmly with tankers. But it's not just tankers, as we can see stood behind you here.
Tankers would be our main product at the moment in the last few years. We've been making slurry tanks for 20 years. I think it's the year 2000 we made our first tank. But the last few years it's really grown a good bit. I think our first tandem tank we did in 2012 maybe.
Okay.
And we were nervous going making our first tandem tank. It was a big move. Oh, are we doing this right? What have you to do? And this and that. And now we do about 50 tandem tanks a year. We've done tri-axle tanks. We did a 5,500 gallon tank on air suspension, front and rear steering. So it's developed a lot in 10 years, and it would be definitely our bread and butter business at the moment. But historically, it would have been smaller equipment. So back in the 90s, the company really grew on the grass topper. Yes. Small 6-foot topper behind the tractor into side mounted trail toppers. We sold thousands and thousands and thousands of toppers. Bale wrappers and shear gaps as well were big in the 90s. The grass topper bale wrapper thing has kind of died a bit in the 2000s, and it was a declining product for us, so we went into slurry tanks, diet feeders, muck spreaders, that kind of thing, much more so in the mid 2000s to 2010 on to where we are now at the moment, where slurry tanks, the diet feeders, muck spreaders. We still do bale wrappers. We don't do grass toppers anymore. Side spreaders, sport conditioners, that kind of thing now at the moment.
But when it comes to product portfolio, it's very much tanks.
Definitely, yeah.
In every size, dimension, option.
Exactly, yeah. It's gone crazy now with the options. Like, it's, as I was saying to you earlier, every tank is customized. Back in the day, we used to make tanks to stock. So you'd have a 1350 sitting in the yard. You get a phone call, it's gone out the door a few weeks later. That day is gone for us anyway. It's
not like that anymore. I mean, there's a particular tank caught my eye having a walk through there, a 4,000 gallon tank, and it looks to have every conceivable option on it known to man. With an overhead boom, we have galvanised mud guards, which aren't there, but that's what's going on it. 2 fill pipes either side. There's easy, I don't know what your terminology, an easy arm or a you know, and it's on big tyres as well, 750s I do believe.
750s, yeah.
So it looks like an awesome bit of kit. And an agitator?
Sand agitator, yeah. Inside the tank to keep the slurry mixed up so that the sediment doesn't settle to the bottom of it, yeah.
Interestingly, your diet feeder range, you were saying that you do sell a few of those into France, so you know you're obviously a lot of export as well in this business.
We do, yeah. There's huge demand in Ireland at the moment, so Ireland is definitely our by far our biggest market, but that's mainly due to the grant at the moment for the dribble bar and trailing shoe. We have a good few markets at the moment. Like, we sell a good bit in Norway. There's a tank there in assembly going to Iceland. There's feeders went to New Zealand. We sell a good bit to Poland, we sell a bit to Latvia, Lithuania, Baltic countries. It's bits and pieces, but at the moment it's definitely Ireland is the biggest, but we do try and grow the export and try and find good importers and distributors, and it is nice to see your machines go abroad.
Yes.
Like, it is a bit more exciting than the machines down to New Zealand, and like, we sent a tank to Pakistan last year. We have 2 tanks going to Saudi Arabia, and you get funny stuff like that.
What is the process on this site for producing a tanker? How much do you do yourselves? Just talk us through from order till dispatch, what way it works.
Well, the order comes in through the dealer usually, and it's processed here, and basically it comes in as raw steel. It's totally, the tank is rolled, dished ends put on, it goes into a welding bay, chassis, all the optional extra things put on the tank, checked off, then down to painted and assembled and out the door. So there's no sub-assembly production done anywhere else. Everything's done here on site from start to finish. And the trailing shoes and dribble bars too are made here. Everything is made on site. Even the dyed feeders, the augers are made. We have a special jig for making those, for pressing up the flights of the auger. So everything you see is fabricated here, painted and assembled. Yeah.
I suppose that in one way is really good because you're fully in control of everything, but I suppose in another way it can create a few bottlenecks here and there.
Yeah, well it's good that we're flexible. We're very flexible. Like, you can see the tanks out there. If someone rings me and they say they want something added or something changed or a drawing changed, it's definitely one thing that I get feedback from customers and dealers that it's a positive of working with us, that we're very flexible. Basically anything they ask we can do, because we have a design team, we have the plasma bending machine, we have everything to do whatever they need. I'm
going to ask you a question, because at the end of the day I'm imagining the answer doesn't really affect you personally, but paint or galvanise?
Well, galvanising is a better process. You're coating the tank in zinc inside and out, so it's a better job. But it does need minding as well. It's not a lifetime guarantee. It's expensive though. If it's for yourself personally, you want it to last as long as possible, galvanising is definitely a better job. But the paint process now is very good, and if a tank is minded, it could last just as long as a galvanised tank that's not minded. So
in the finishing bay there was 3 tanks, 2 of which were galvanised and 1 was painted. Maserati blue, might I add.
Yeah.
It was painted. And you know, as far as when it comes to attachments or things like these dribble bars, trailing shoes, do you work them with all types, or what have you got a specific, is it injectors? Have you ever looked at anything along those lines? Or
no, it's nearly all trailing shoes. They'd be more popular than dribble bars. We rarely get asked for a disc injector, rarely. We don't make our own. We work with a company in Holland called slurry. We used to fit their trailing shoes, and if someone did want a disc injector, we'd offer their one.
So the market is trailing shoe?
It is trailing shoe, yeah, definitely.
Of which you make yourself?
We make our own one, yeah. Our one comes up to 7.5 metre. We can do bigger ones. We use the Vogelsang one, or Bomec as well, for if you wanted to say 10 or 12 metre.
But am I right in saying that's the way it's going? Big tanks, big trailing shoes?
Definitely, as far as I can see, yeah. Well, everything's getting bigger. The trailing shoe and dribble bar it's every tank in Ireland we sell now has one because of the grant. It's become more popular in export countries as well, and with the cap regulations and stuff in Europe, it's going to become more popular. Like it's a big thing now, the emissions, so it's definitely going to go down that road. And
the muck spreader?
The muck spreader, yeah, it's we're not that long doing them, maybe 6 or 7 years, but they're going quite well for us. Yeah, we get good feedback on those. There wouldn't be a massive market for them. It's an expensive machine. And
the diet feeders, what size do they range from?
The smallest is 12, that one there, and we have done a 26 metre cube 2 auger tandem axle one. That's the biggest we've done. We can go bigger, but it'd be rare enough to be asked for anything bigger than that.
How do they get on for you as a product? Are they well received?
It is, yeah. It's a good product for us, yeah. Our dealer in France, he's a nutritionist as well. He sells a lot of dyed feeders. We've 2 different types of auger. We've the Ultramix auger, which we offer, and it's in as well as the standard one. And in France, that works really well. It rotates much slower. It doesn't damage the feed as much. It cuts it cleaner. He has done tests, and he's on his analysis, like it's definitely improved the feed in the farms that he's tested it on.
But you can tell that whoever's working in France with you has a little bit of know-how when it comes, because there's a little bit of specification on there, and I picked up on that with you, like metal detector bits and pieces, and it's just, to me, not a standard feeder there that's heading out, those 2 sitting in there getting finished, that's heading out to France. Thank you very much for allowing us to come down and take a bit of a look around. And when it comes to export, or if anybody wants to look in and see what you do, I suppose they can go online to your own website and they'll find some way of contacting someone.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. All the details will be on the website, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Thanks very much, Murray.
No problem at all.
I'll head back up the road here and get a bit of sewing done at some of these clothes. I'll leave Olivia to get some footage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.